Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. In today's video I'll be sharing with you guys how to make these baggy joggers with an elastic waistband and rope from your scrap fabric. I'll also be showing you how to calculate the crotch extension and prevent having excess fabric around the crotch area. So if this is something you're interested in, then keep watching. For this tutorial, I'm working with my scrap fabric. So I have randomly picked pieces of the scrap and joined them together. There are no particular measurement I used. I just picked the pieces of scrap and just joined them together. So you can go ahead and do the same or follow along with the fabric of your choice. I have here a shirt collar interfacing for the buttonhole, an elastic for the waistband and the scrap fabric. The total length of my scrap fabric measured 1.35 meters. And the width measured 48 inches. I have folded my fabric to 1/4 of my hip measurement plus extra 4 inches. From these 4 inches, I'll be taking my front crotch extension plus seam allowance. So from the edge of the fabric to where the tape is 1/4 of my hip measurement plus 4 inches. This line here is my start line, so I've placed 2 inches the width of my waistband on this line and I went down 43 inches for the full length of my trouser. With my tape still on the start line at 2 inches the width of my waistband, I'll go down 8 inches for my hip level and 10 inches for my crotch depth. I'll square out these points. My hip circumference measured 40 inches, so I added extra 6 inches to it. I'll divide this by 4. This gave me 11.5 inches plus ½ inch joining allowance on the side. I'll place this measurement on the hip line and on the start line. I'll connect these 2 points with a straight line down to the crotch line. So depending on how baggy you want your joggers to be, add that extra inches to your hip measurement and follow along. To get my front crotch extension, I'm going to use my original hip measurement of 40 inches. And 1/4 of 40 is 10 inches. That's 40 divided by 4. I will divide these 10 inches by 4 and this gave me 2.5 inches. I will place 2.5 inches on the crotch line for my front crotch extension. I'll go ahead and draw in my front crotch curve. You can freehand style your own, but I usually divide these 2 points into 2 to get a better front crotch curve, just like you see me doing in the video. With my tape placed on the start line at 2 inches, I will come down at 8 inches for my front imaginary zipper fly. The width of my zipper fly is 1.25 inches and it will be permanently stitched closed. This is just to give that imaginary zipper fly effect. I'll measure what I have on the crotch line and I'll place that same measurement on the knee line, which I forgot to indicate here with a line, and connect with a straight line. I'll place this same measurement at the hem of the pant and connect with a straight line. So here I'm marking out the ½ inch joining allowance on the side so that we can mark our pocket. On the start line from the side seam allowance, I came in by 1.5 inches. I suggest you come in by 2 inches. And I went down by 4 inches. I also suggest you come down by 4.5 or 5 inches. I will connect these 2 points with a straight line. I'll go ahead and cut out the front pattern and add ½ inch seam allowance on the other side, and at the hem I used 1 inch seam allowance. I have placed the front panel on the remaining fabric for the back panel, and you can see here on the crotch line that I have an extra 2.5 inches. Then on the side seam I have about a 3/4 inch, and from there I'll be taking my seam allowance. For my back crotch extension, I'm going to use the whole 2.5 inches. Then on the start line, I will divide half of my bust span into 2, and this gives me 2 inches. I'll square up that point, and on this line I will go up by 2 inches, 1/4 of my bust span. With my tape on that 2 inches point, I will tilt my tape till it touches the waistline of the front and place 1/4 of my hip measurement. This is the normal way we do this, but because I do not have enough fabric, on the start line from the center front line, I will come in by 1 inch instead of 2 inches and square that point up. Then I'll place the 2 inches, 1/4 of my bust span here. Then with my tape on this 2 inches point, I will tilt it till it touches the waistline of the front and place 1/4 of my hip measurement. On the front pattern, at the point where the center front line touches the crotch line, I will go out by 2 inches at a 45-degree angle and make a point. This point will serve as a guide to help me draw the center back line. To mark the inseam of the back, I will measure the inseam of the front. Here I have 33 inches. I'll minus 0.25 inch from it, and that leaves me with 32.75 inches. I'll place this measurement and redraw the back crotch curve. The reason is because the back inseam is cut slightly on a bias, so it stretches. Also, the female body is shaped downwards towards the back, so this prevents your pants from entering in between your butt cheeks. I went ahead to cut out my pattern and forgot that I have not drawn in the inseam of the back pattern. So this is when I realized that I haven't drawn in the back inseam. So I measured the crotch line to the hem of the trouser and half that to get my knee level. Then on this line I place 2 inches from the same line of the front and at the hem as well, and connect with a straight line. So once I was done connecting the points, I now replaced the 32.75 inches, the back inseam measurement, following this line, and I drew in my back inseam line. So guys, I have cut out my pattern and I've made necessary notches. For the pockets, I have here 4 pieces of fabric. 2 will serve as the facing. The length of my pocket measured 10.5 inches and the width measured 7 inches, and this includes seam allowance. I'll place the pocket facing underneath the front pattern and cut out the shape of the pocket. These 2 pieces here will be used as the waistband. The width measured 5 inches and unfold measured 2.5 inches. The length is the circumference of my hip. To assemble the pieces, I'm starting with the front panel. I'll go ahead and stitch close the center front to 1 inch away from the inseam. I've done that and I've overlocked the raw edges. The zipper fly cover will be top stitched on the left side of the front panel, but before we do that, I'll go ahead and attach the pockets. I'll place the facing of the pocket with the right side to the right side of the front panel and attach with a straight stitch, then top stitch the seam allowance on the facing. Once that is done, I'll place the second panel of the pocket with the right side to the right side of the facing and stitch round it, then overlock the raw edges. So guys, I've attached the pocket and it's gradually coming together. The next thing I'm going to do is to work on the back panel. I'll go ahead and attach them at the center back. Now that the back panel has been sewn, I'll go ahead and attach the front and back panels together on the side and on the inseam as well. I've sewn close the side seam and the inseam of the trouser and overlock all raw edges. The next thing I'm going to do is to stitch close the crotch, notch round the curved areas and overlock the raw edge. So guys, I've done all that I said and you can see that our joggers is gradually coming together. Now I'm going to top stitch the zipper fly on the left side and hem the bottom of our trouser. I've gone ahead and prepared my waistband. The width measured 5 inches and unfold measured 2.5 inches. The length is the circumference of my hip. I will go ahead and pin it in place with the right side of the waistband to the wrong side of my joggers and attach with a straight stitch. So guys, I've done that. Before I go ahead and top stitch the waistband, I'll iron on this shirt collar interfacing on the center front to make my buttonholes. This buttonhole will serve as an opening for the joggers rope. To mark the point for my buttonhole, on the center front line of the waistband, I will go out by 1/2 inch on both sides. Now the width of my waistband is 2 inches, I will halve that into 2 and that gives me 1. On that 1 inch line, I will take 0.25 inch on both sides of the line to make my buttonhole. The width of my buttonhole is 0.5 inch. So guys, I've made my buttonholes and this is what it's looking like. I'll go ahead and cut it open and stitch close the waistband. The width of my elastic is 1.5 inches and the length I used is 1.5 inches shorter than my original waist circumference, and this includes seam allowance to join the elastic. I'll go ahead and top stitch the waistband and insert the elastic as well. So guys, I've done all that I said and I went ahead to create the first channel for my joggers rope. I ran the first stitches just right above the buttonhole. The second stitches is going to be just below the buttonhole and you make sure to stretch out your elastic while you make these stitches. So guys, I've created the channel for our rope. I also went ahead and prepared my joggers rope. I'm going to pass this rope through this channel and that's practically it. Do not forget to like and share the video. Leave all your questions and suggestions in the comment section. Do not forget to subscribe to the channel and I'll see you guys in my next one. A bientôt!